Hey, welcome to Guitar Knobs, the guitars, gear, noise, and nonsense podcast, hosted today by these knobs.
Tony Dudzik, pick Guardian.
Jared Brandon Wound pickups.
Hey, everybody, it's me, Todd Novak. Welcome to the Guitar Knobs podcast. We are so excited, maybe even thrilled to death, I might say, that you are listening to our show, wherever you are.
That's right.
I'm trying to imagine where everybody's actually at right now. Maybe you're walking down the street in London. Maybe you are cleaning a barn in Colorado or something. So, hey, speaking of that, who do we have on the line right now?
All right, this is Jon Armellino with Very Good Amco.
I love the name of that. It's a great name. It's like, dang it, that's a dang good name. It's
very good
for a brand. Very good, Amco. We'll get into all this stuff, and John's got a brand new pedal out that is absolutely fantastic that we're going to dig into as well.
Yes.
So we're really happy to have him on, and hopefully. I mean, well, it's weird. I hope that some people are like, what? Who's this guy? I never heard of this guy. But that also means I'm not hoping that people don't know about you. So it's a double-edged sword right there.
Wow, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'll take it either way.
I'm sure it'd be great if everyone knew who you were, but I'm willing to bet that there's a couple of people who don't. Just like us. So we didn't.
Especially the guy cleaning out the barn.
Yeah.
That's it.
Maybe he'll find a catacombs underneath the barn. No.
For the end times.
Anyways, that's another podcast altogether. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to, aside from having a great show, we need to thank a few people. Ginormous thanks to Rode Mics for providing our excellent audio gear in front of us. The Rodecaster Pro machine, the Procaster mics, microphones, and the I think it's called it's like DM-1 or something like that, arms that the mics are hanging from.
They're articulating.
Yeah, but there's a product name. It didn't get the fun name. Maybe you should come up with a fun name for it.
Oh, I can come up with a fun name.
Okay.
I'm working on it.
Okay. Maybe it's like no, never mind. You do it. All right.
Roticulator.
Yes. I also want to share. We get great letters or DMs and just notes, messages, whatever you want to call them. Correspondence, if you will.
Correspondence.
And I'm going to share one of those real quick here.
Please do.
And it's going to require. We're gonna ask John how he might solve for this.
Oh.
Now you two have already heard this, and you can share your responses as well.
Okay.
All right, this is from Ben Caples, and he says, guys, my question is one of practicality in one sense, but might seem somewhat impossible in another. Oh, color me intrigued, Ben. I'm a bass player, and I constantly change the volume or tone controls on my bass guitar. Okay. I'd like to use a bass pedal, but in order to change a tone or some other control, I have to bend over to do this. Are there any... So, following along here, I had to read this one a couple times. So I was like trying to picture what the situation was. So, if he's changing the controls on his bass all the time, and he goes to hit the pedal, depending on what song you might be playing, that pedal might sound totally different. That's what I'm kind of picking up. Is that... Anyways, well, I'll keep going and we can solve this. He says, are there any pedals out there that can be controlled while a guitarist is standing, rather than having to bend down all the time to control the pedal? I guess I could take a pedal and hit the foot switch with the heel of my hand. But anyways, just wondering if there's anything out there like I just mentioned. And so to keep up this good work, he says. Thanks to us, he said that. And you keep up the good work too, Ben. So I was trying to imagine what this situation was. And it sounds like, for bass players, they don't have usually tons of pedals. So if he does have a pedal that he likes and he sets a specific tone for it, but then he's constantly changing the tone on the bass and he switches songs, if he just rolled off his tone and he goes to hit that pedal, that's going to sound radically different. So he's going to have to change the tone on the pedal.
Oh, see, now I took it that he wanted to just be able to have a pedal that he could leave maybe his controls on his bass alone, and then fiddle with the knobs,
like an EQ kind of thing.
Yeah, that's how I took it.
Well, these are different interpretations, aren't they?
Yeah.
Let's see, John. Jared? First, we'll go to Jared. You answered this. How did you interpret this, Jared?
I don't know how realistic my answer was, but I'm going to say it anyway. I suggested he buy 3 or 4 of the same pedal and have them all on different settings.
Okay.
I mean, that's better than bending over all the time.
I guess
But
so.
I mean, how much is the pedal?
Yes.
Is it an $800 pedal? Probably not going to do that.
Probably not for bass.
But I want to bring up the biphase. That's a big honking thing. That pedal is so big, it's not really meant to be on the floor. As a matter of fact, it's got a female machine screw that you screw on a mic stand.
Right.
And it balances on a mic stand. Then that thing alone has pedals. So you can actually change the biphase around. It's like an old school processor.
It's a pedestal.
It is. It is. It's perfect.
Oh, you're the clever one.
I know.
So,
Someone's going to go make that now.
There are things like that, and I'm sure that there were. I don't know if Smashing Pumpkins used it. I don't know how they used it on their. I know they used one of those on their early albums, but I don't think they messed with the dials during the songs.
Probably not.
Probably
yeah.
not.
Now, Tony,
then-
you brought up something.
Yeah, I said that possibly as Jared said with the biphase, you could get a music stand.
That's what I have in my house.
Lay
I
it
do
flat
that on my house.
and just put stuff on there like that. Or if you wanted to be real clever, you could come up with something that would fit on a mic stand or something like
Use
that.
a broomstick.
But I also thought that you could also hire a very small person to control the knobs for you while you change them.
You worded that very carefully. Well done. So
They have to wear all black.
yeah, John, what do you think?
Totally.
Yeah, to tell you the truth, I'm a little confused on the question, but from what I'm gathering, that maybe like an extra EQ pedal that he can engage when he's doing, I don't know, certain things with his tone control on his bass, and then to compensate for whatever pedal he's using, or just a pedal that kind of has like a sweepable EQ that you can use a foot switch with, or like expression pedal.
Oh yeah,
Or an
That's a good
HX
idea.
Tom.
that's what I said.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, perfect. Get yourself an HX Tom.
The expression pedal idea is, if he can find a pedal that's similar to his pedal
That sweeps the tone.
Yeah.
that's the answer. I think you actually came up with the best idea
What?
with the expression pedal.
Oh, that was John.
I know, that's what I meant.
Oh,
Was
well,
talking
you're
to
pointing
John.
at me.
By
He's
you,
talking
he
to
meant
me,
John.
man. Come on,
Yeah.
he's clearly talking to me.
They don't know who you're pointing at.
All I know is it wasn't me. My idea was stupid.
Well, it is an interesting question, and depending on what the actual issue is, which I think we are somewhat maybe divided in half on what we think that is. But I will say I've seen a handful of people with pedestal type, like a music stand with their board. There was a friend of mine, he's still around, named Glenn. And he was in a band called Way Yes. And one of the cool things is he did a lot of vocals for it and some other stuff. And he had a pedestal with a bunch of effects on it, and he would sit there and sing and do it. It's kind of like Perry Farrell. He does the same thing.
Yeah.
He's got like the super custom thing, and he goes over and tweaks his stuff, and then comes back and does his thing, which is kind of cool. Anyway, so Ben, thank you for the question. That was a very good one. It was a very interesting one, and we appreciate that. And if anybody else has the answer to that and wants to share that on the Guitar Knobs group on Facebook, I think that would be the appropriate place to do that.
Very nice.
Yes. All right, everybody. I also did want to mention, so there are fezzes out there. And I don't mean the kind that you wear on your head.
Fez fuzz.
Yes. There are fez pedals out in the wild, and we've been getting great pictures of them back. And those were given out to our
Grand
Poobahs and a handful of other very, very key VIP and people who have helped out the podcast in extraordinary ways. Not a whole bunch of them.
That's a very important Poobah.
Yeah, and now coming up. So I mentioned I think I think we're going to have close to about 10 that we're going to be trying to hook up our executive producers with. But we have a plan beyond this.
Oh.
But these ones are going to be completely unique for this run. So we'll see what happens. We'll keep you informed.
Yes, these are very unique. I do love mine too. By the way,
elusive special.
I'm not a fuzz pedal fan, but a thing I like about
it's
it.
Not a.
It's more an overdrive than a fuzz.
With a little. So I was busting this week. I got to share this real quick.
Go ahead.
I mean, it just this is for my first time like making something and sending it out, right, to others. Well, I sent one we were talking with the guys from HX Stomp, from Line 6 rather, and we were talking about the pedal, and I sent one to Jeff, who has been very helpful with our show.
Jeff who?
Jeff Schroeder.
Oh, I didn't know he was with Line 6.
No, he's not, but he's been extremely generous and helpful with our show outside of what everybody hears, if he comes on one of the as a guest or something.
He's a great guy.
He got it, and actually sent me some very nice comments about it, and then sent a sound file of him playing it. And I was just like, I was standing in Target looking for a Mother's Day card, and I was just like, I'm having the best moment ever right now.
Nice.
This is just so cool. And nobody else knew what was going on, but I was like, I was just gushing because it was like, wow, there's my thing out there doing the thing,
Yeah.
Anyways, the point being, one of the things he brought up, which is something that I noticed about the pedal, is that at the very end of the attack, you can it just edges in. It's just a whisper of like, it starts to push into like some octavey tones, which is like really, like he picked up on that right away. And I was like, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And John, I want to hear your experience when this kind of thing first happened to you. Once we get into the interview, which I promise everybody we will. We will start shutting up and hearing all about the world,
but
from John's point of view. But first, we need to find out what's going on in our music worlds this week, and we're gonna start with Tony Baloney traditionally, and then we're gonna jump over and see what John has to say
over in Colorado.
Okay, so Tony.
Yes, well, in my music world this week, actually last night I watched a movie called Sound of Metal.
Ooh.
It is,
awful.
It's a great movie.
I'm just kidding.
No, yeah, thanks, Todd.
I didn't know you were into heavy metal, old chum.
Well, no, it's not that's part of the story. The story is of a drummer that goes deaf from
what?
Lots of noise.
I saw previews for that. Yeah,
it's awesome. It's his journey. I won't go into all the details.
True story, right?
No, it's not a true story, but it could be. It's one of those things.
Certainly happened to a lot of musicians.
People. Yeah,
it's all sciencey.
But it's incredibly good, and the best thing about the movie, at least the most prominent thing to me, whoever did the sound on this made you feel like you were going deaf.
Wow.
You heard
you really just ruined it for everybody right there.
Yeah. Well, no, that's the
whole thing.
It becomes
I
obvious.
think it's a draw. Now I'm intrigued.
It's like it's obvious within the first 10 minutes of the movie what's going on. And then there are other parts, of course, where I think as a practical matter they had to have sound so that people could hear, but it's really, really good.
Wow.
It has a very good plot, and it's a very interesting take on a situation like that. So I recommend seeing it, and I also recommend wearing hearing protection.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm definitely do that now in the studio.
What?
That's awful. I felt like I got that for a little while, but it turned out to be allergies, which is great. So if you are happening to suffer from that ringing ear, John, has that ever happened to you?
Over the past, I'd say, 6-7 years, I've started wearing earplugs everywhere because it started getting to the point where I was like, oh, that ringing doesn't go away after a concert anymore.
It's super, super, super scary.
Yeah.
All right, John, what's going on in your music world?
In Colorado.
Oh, Music World, Colorado. Honestly, the only thing really going on, I actually did something I never thought I was ever going to do. I have an old, well, not old, I guess, 2012 Les Paul Studio that I never did anything to. I constantly, change out pickups, change out pots, change tuners, whatever. This guitar was just my guitar that I love so much. I was like, I'm never changing a dang thing on it. And I finally changed out the pickups.
Nice. What brand?
Actually, Righteous Sound, man. I actually started talking with Joshua over there and got a pair of his. I think they are just, it changed the whole guitar for me. It was my favorite guitar, but now it's like one that I will never get rid of.
That's awesome. Where's he from? And I've never heard of Righteous Sound, but where's he?
Out of Texas. Honestly, he's doing some cool stuff. Got fantastic products. I know, Jared, you can appreciate stuff like that, so I'd check him out. But yeah, Joshua's he's a nice guy too, so you can't beat it, man.
Nice.
Well, good for you. That's great.
Yeah. Now, is this a humbucker equipped or P90?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, two humbuckers, man. So
I think all the studios are buckers, right?
Yeah.
I thought they made a run that did have P90s in them too, but
they got like the tributes that have the P90s and stuff in them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I just had some I think they're the Burst Bucker Pros in here, and it never had a good clean sound, but now it's just it does whatever I want.
That's good to know.
It's fantastic. Yeah.
It always feels good when you just you tap out the potential of what you have, and I'm really glad that worked out.
So while we have our resident pickup expert in the house, Tony, what do you? I actually got him right there. And by the way, everybody, we're actually all three of us in the studio, which I'm so happy about because I love these guys and I miss them.
I had to escape the real world and come be in La La Land.
But John, you just mentioned burst buckers. Now that's probably something that we see all the time in, if you're looking through Sweetwater or wherever it might be. Or Jared, what's a burst bucker?
There's I believe there's 3 levels of burst buckers. It's just another old timey PAF recipe that Gibson uses. There's 1, 2, and 3, and the numbers indicate the output. So it starts out around 7K and gets up to I think around the high 8s. But then they're all over the place, kind of like the originals were. But yeah, a lot of people like them, and some people don't like them. I mean, to me, the burst bucker necks, there's always been kind of like this, kind of too MIDI, they're dark. They're dark. Did you experience that with that studio?
And that was the whole thing. I never used the neck pickup for that very reason. It was like it was bridge with gain. That was where I was happy, and everything else sounded like crap. So
yeah, and on Nico too, it doesn't. You want a little more power.
Is that what's in the burst bucker?
Yeah, and I think you want a little more power in the magnet there for the neck. But some people like it though. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people like that, and they never take the pickups out. But I guess it just depends who you are and what your taste is.
That's it.
Yeah.
If it sounds good to you, it sounds good. That's all there is to it.
I mean, I think the only guitars that I don't change pickups out are like the really old vintage ones that I have. Mm-hmm. They just sound great anyway. Mm-hmm. They have the original Gibson pickups in them. But.
That's good stuff, man.
Yeah, man.
Hey, what color is that studio there?
I forgot what it was called. I think it was like Fireburst is what they called it. It's like a studio satin from 2012.
Oh, okay.
Like some weird model.
I know the satins.
Yeah, man. I'm never like a big Sunburst fan, but I got this guitar in trade like 10 years ago. Or not 10. Close to 10 years ago.
9.
Yeah, it's been fantastic.
You remember the faded models?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They should bring those back. I don't know.
I'm telling you, man. Yeah, the prices of those have gone up like crazy on the used market too. You used to be able to get one for $500, but now people are selling them for $1,000. It's nuts.
Well, a lot of it is they were still using rosewood on the boards.
Oh, yeah.
Even though it has a satin finish, I know some people that have actually buffed out that finish to make it glossy, or even shot over it to make it.
Yeah.
And they're decent instruments. There's no doubt about it.
It's good. It's a good guitar, man.
I wish I had my 84 Studio back. It wasn't a dumb move because I got a sweet Telecaster out of it in trade, but I would like to have that back. I wonder if I could find the guy. Anyways,
let's find him.
Jared, how about yourself, man?
Oh, goodness. Well, so the Klon, been using that with the Una and
you for those who may not know, you did end up purchasing an original non-horsey Klon.
A non-horsey silver. Like the one that's most acquirable. Like that, even though it's still stupid. But it's it's stupid priced. Let me put that at the end of it. Stupid. No, man. So I've been using that with an old Yamaha stereo pedal that my dad bought back in the late 80s or whatever. And if you turn one of the knobs all the way down and the other one about at 3 or 4, it's not a heavy stereo. It's just that nice, barely oscillating left and right. And I have the amps are kind of facing each other. So if you kind of stand in the middle, it's like
a giant set of headphones.
Like an enormous enormous set of headphones. And it's the most pleasing, awesome sound in the universe. So I've just been playing for pure joy. Nothing special. Just fun. I mean, it's just fun.
I think, you know what, I bet that your nicotined out Les Paul would sound amazing through that, right?
It does.
Oh, my goodness.
That old beast does sound. I mean,
that's like a 15-pound guitar, isn't it?
Yeah, man. You need you need to put like a cello stand under the coming out of the thing. Dude, it's a heavy, but it's just the neck on it feels like a big old stick of butter.
That is an incredible guitar. You really scored with that.
Old looking crazy. You know what? It's not really nicotine that does that. It's the sun on that old ass lacquer.
I thought you. Oh well. Anyways,
yeah.
Well, lots of things.
You, Todd. How about?
Oof. Yeah, you, Todd. How about? This week I got to practice again with my band, or some of them, anyways. 3 of them. Our singer and the drummer, and I switched it up. I normally been playing through my Supro, the Black Magic, which has been a great amp. But this one that I got from Hello Sailor, I was like, I want to see what this thing sounds like when we really lay into it. Mm-hmm. And I was not unhappy. It sounded awesome. I was really excited about it.
Do you think in a live situation it would cut through?
I think so, especially if I mix up that speaker like we're talking about. This still has the Cream Neo in it, the Celestion Cream Neodymium, and it's but what I do want to try to do is get a different speaker in there for a high headroom, because that's a 60-watt speaker. It's an 18-watt amp. It's like John. This is like it's like it's a film sound, so it's built in the 40s.
Nice.
And Hello Sailor completely, refurbished, redid it, whatever. And
actually, I follow them. So
so you've seen those. Well, then you've seen my amp. It's the really really freaky, ugly antique gold and black Antiqua style combo. I mean, it's weird, and I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I might just leave it. But anyways, back to the sound. I ran the fez through it. I ran John's pedal through it, and I also ran the Hello Sailor pedal that he built that has the Rangemaster and the overdrive in it. And I'm telling you, I couldn't get a bad sound out of that. Like, I was just switching them up for different songs, and that was excellent stuff.
Good.
So very happy with that. One of the coolest things that I can think of about the pedal board. Think about your pedal board. One of the coolest things is when you find a piece of gear that works really, really well.
Like Velcro?
Like Velcro, except this is different. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like Velcro for your pedals, but not. It does hook them up, but not through Sticky Business.
Sticky Business.
Nope, this is the Tour Gear Designs patch cable. Mm-hmm. And I just wanted to... they've got one of the biggest size patch cables out there that I can think of that isn't hand cut. 23 inches.
Wow.
That costs $15.97. $15.97.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is a $1.44 per inch.
You are a math genius, Jared.
Wow.
I know.
Good job.
You just did that in your head?
I absolutely did.
Holy moly. It's not from that paper that's you're holding right there?
No, this
Damn,
is...
you are incredible.
Clean my
Superhead
teeth.
Wonder Brain.
Right.
All right. That's from an old Benny Hill sketch. Anyways, so that is a remarkable price for a incredible piece of
Now,
gear.
is this 23-inch cable the same flat cable?
Same flat cable.
Same super
extremely
small ends?
low profile,
Low profile.
small diameter ends.
If you're missing your shoelaces, you can use it as a shoelace.
You probably could. Yeah, somebody out there do that. Anyways, so go to tourgeardesigns.com/discount/guitar knobs, and you're going to get 10% off of your entire order.
So that takes it down to about $130 a foot.
Ish.
If that's math, yes.
I don't have a little piece of paper to be right.
Yeah, Jared, where are you now? Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, go to tourgeardesigns.com/discounts/guitar knobs and get yourself 10% off of your awesome order of these awesome pedals made by the awesome company called Tour Gear Designs. Thank you so much for supporting our show and sponsoring Four on the Floor.
Parking is free.
So how about a little bit of this?
1, 2, 3. 4 on the floor.
You even did a little dance for that, too.
Nice. See, that's what being
I
live in
know.
the studio.
I don't get that if he's away. He was all really excited. He's all smiling.
He's dancing at home all the time. I know
Jared's
he is.
big dimples are all,
Dimpling.
Yeah. Okay, John from Very Good Amp Co. Share your Four on the Floor with the world now.
All right. Yeah. A lot of thought went into this, and I figured, okay, can't do my own pedals. Cool. No problem. I also decided maybe keep it pretty cheap and accessible too, because I don't know. Typically, I don't buy the crazy big expensive stuff. So first in the chain would be my Ernie Ball VP Junior, Volume Pedal Junior. But caveat, it has the JHS mod in it. So it's got the tuner out and a buffer built in.
Oh.
I've had that thing, I can't even remember how long I've had it, but 10 years plus. Next.
Do you like do you use the tuner out? I mean, obviously, you said it's very cool, but people are really on the fence about that.
I do. Typically, I'll put it in like a little Polytune Mini, but I didn't want a tuner to take up one of these on the floor right now. I was like, screw it. I'll do a clip-on or I'll use my phone. I don't care.
I appreciate that.
So do you, have you used the full-size Ernie Ball versus the Mini?
I have. Full size, it's a little bit bigger, but it's just the Junior just makes more sense, even though it's still pretty big for a volume pedal.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just feels the best. Although I will say I changed the string on one of those for the first time the other week. Yeah, it almost made me want to throw it out the window. So take that for what it is. Number 2, I kind of had a tough choice here. It was between an exotic SL drive and a Greer Lightspeed. And I freaking love the Lightspeed, but for like what I normally play, like if I was going to go jam with people, I'm going to go with the exotic SL drive. Just got more gain. Doesn't clean up like the Greer, but just got the more gain Marshall thing going on. Then next one will be an Earthquaker Dispatch Master. Covers both my delay and reverb needs. You can get as washy as you want or just a little slapback. Fantastic.
That is you've got some pedals that are just like, those are becoming absolute standards on so many boards. I mean, they have been for a long time, but I think as time goes on, they
stick around.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Yeah, I want my Four on the Floor to do literally anything I would need, and I could survive in any situation.
Aha.
Last but not least, just a simple TC Spark Booster Mini. Honestly, for like a simple boost pedal, I love these freaking things, man. They have a momentary switch too. So if you just want to crank it up for just a little passage, you just hold your foot on it, take it off, it's gone. It's especially for on the used market. I think you can get them for like $30.
Oh, wow.
yeah.
You can't beat it.
Yeah, that's
Todd loves a nice momentary switch.
I do like the momentary switches. Yes, I do. TC. Just hang on this for a moment. It seems as though, and I think because they got out by Behringer, if I'm correct about that. When that happened, it seems like things really quieted down from TC. Is that? Do you guys?
I don't know. Honestly, like I'm a TC fan, even though, sure, it's a technically Uli Behringer, like that whole conglomerate of crazy pedalness.
But that came out. Your pedal came out way before they bought that, though, didn't it?
I couldn't even tell you.
I feel like that was the case. It was like, I actually feel like the Spark was one of the. If I'm getting my time right, and if I'm not, please don't throw rocks at me. But I feel like that was like one of the last ones that kind of came out before they got fully bought out. I could be way wrong.
I think what happened in a lot of cases, some of these companies, and especially early on, that were kind of boutique pedals, and that market just got so filled up with a lot of different companies that some of the older ones just kind of got forgotten somewhat.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I kind of gravitate towards the old classics. I mean, I've got the green one. I got the Klon. I got the Mutrons. I got the, the old chorus pedal, the Yamaha that was made in Japan a billion years ago that my dad bought brand new. I don't know, man. You like what you like. And by the way, I wanted to ask you, since you've gotten your new pickups in your guitar, how has that changed? How has that changed going through all the? I'm sure it sounds different through your pedals too.
Oh, absolutely. It's night and day, because I would never pick up that Les Paul for like cleanish sounds. Like that was never a thing. And now I can actually use that to test everything too, because it gives me the whole range. Like I can do really clean, nice, warm passages that actually have like clarity and definition. It's fantastic.
Great.
So the combination with that now, and a couple pedals I got going on, I couldn't be happier, man.
Too cool. So I did a little bit of, we had a research team.
Yes.
Call in from Poland, and they've supplied us with this, that wasn't a Polish joke for you, Tony.
Thanks.
It actually
Thanks,
wasn't.
Todd.
No, because there's a lot of. Anyways, it's good internet stuff coming out there. Okay. The first the Tony's making fun of me. The TC Spark was first available in 2012, which puts my timeline correct, because Behringer bought out TC in 2015.
When was the last Spark made?
It's probably. I'm sure they're still being made.
Oh yeah, still
Come
cranking
on.
Yes. So if you had one of those really early serial numbers, you got the real McCoy. Anyways, so that was kind of some interesting. I just didn't know that. I knew it was right around that time, but now everyone knows. Everybody's got the same information, so we're all smarter. Nice. Or at least I am. That might have been common knowledge to everybody.
Nicely done.
That's why I woke up this morning. Okay, let's find out about our friend Jon here and his little awesome company called Very Good Amp Co. It might be huge. Do you have the biggest company in Colorado?
Oh, definitely. There's no doubt about it.
Now, Jon, let's get right to the mustard here. You have a new pedal out. Let's talk about that for a while and then get some of your backstory, okay?
Yeah, absolutely. So essentially what you guys got is the EP drive. you actually got version 3 of it. So
Wow.
I've literally been in an actual company for, about half a year, but early on did some serious revisions, because honestly, until somebody else is playing your pedals, you don't know exactly what's going to happen.
Well
because I can be in my little, bubble here in my office building and like, yeah, this is great. This is fantastic. This is the best thing ever. And then it gets out in front of somebody who's going to, play it in a band. And all of a sudden, oh, this doesn't work. This doesn't work. This doesn't work. These need to be changed. So I wanted to make sure I kind of tackled that early on in this whole endeavor, just to get to the best product I could fastest, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that does. So when you say it's version 3, is it was it version 3 prototype, or are you saying that there's versions that have been out for a long time, and then you did a version 2, and those were out for a long time, and now you're on version 3? How does that work?
Yeah, so version 1 was actually it kind of borders on that prototype land. I didn't even have the EP Drive name for it yet. So it wasn't something I sold online. I sold 1 or 2 here to a local shop. But it was actually in the bigger enclosure. So like the normal dual drive pedal enclosure. So it was bigger, had a little bit different circuit in it. Version 2 kind of jumps down to that.
How many of those did you make? Do you remember?
5.
5, wow.
Yeah, 5.
And you can see some pictures of those actually on the homepage of his website. Which, by the way, before you go any further, where can people find you right now, depending on where they're listening?
Just verygoodampco.com is gonna be your best bet. Of course, the normal social media channels. Honestly, Instagram is my best friend right now.
Yeah,
wasn't a big social media guy before this, but it's like
now you are.
Yeah, kind of got to be. But no, it's verygoodampco.com, and honestly, I got links there. If anybody's got questions, I'm the only one here, so I'm more than happy to take questions, concerns, anything. So
that's cool. Okay, so before I so rudely interrupted you, but for the purpose of the listener, so tell us about V2.
V2 just got changed up. Definitely smaller enclosure. Kind of went to the 125B. For anybody that doesn't know, it's kind of, I don't know if you ever played a Greer pedal. They're usually that
standard
size,
kind of every size pedal.
Yeah, and I didn't want to lose any of the functionality, so I still had the effects order switch, the dual foot switches, and that's about as small as you can get, and it still be comfortable to use, without smashing both of them at the same time. Essentially that one, mostly the same circuit, not too crazy there, but then version 3 decided to take it up a notch. We changed pretty much everything in there. After version 2 there, I'd say probably it was in February when I started working on version 3.
How many version 2s are out there?
Let's see, man. Ones that were actually sold, maybe another 5 to 10.
Wow. So those are special pedals.
Well, that's the thing. And I wanted to, I didn't want to keep changing this all the time, or like get a bunch out there and then tell people, oh yeah, by the way, I'm releasing a new one already. So it's like, I didn't want to sell a bunch and then go back at it. I was figured, let's get this right now. But the biggest thing with version 3, about in February, I decided I needed a little help. So I actually reached out to a good friend of mine, actually an ex-bandmate from Chicago, Bruce Forbes, he's a designer. It does like product design and everything, and that's what he does for a living. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to talk to him a little bit, see if we can't come up with something that's maybe a little bit more concise, a little bit more in line with what I want. And man, I'm telling you, that was the best move I ever made, because he really, really helped me kind of narrow things down, get some ideas out there, and now the pedal looks as good as it sounds. Like that's what I was hoping for.
It is a really beautiful pedal. And now it's kind of weird to call something that's basically completely white beautiful, but it is. I find no fault in this. And that's not me saying like, me, Todd, I find no fault in this. Yeah. But I, by trade, I critique and I create design and you know, stuff like this, not actual products for product building purposes, but so I have a fair amount of experience in identifying, you know, making sure things have to look good and stuff. And minute I opened that box, I was like, wow, this is exceptional. It was very, very well done. Very well appointed.
Yes.
A big portion of that is the special box it's in. You want to tell them about that?
Well, I was going to say, like, when we stepped up the design of it and the look of it, I was like, man, these cardboard boxes aren't going to cut it. So I actually kind of, you know, I've been in the woodworking for a long time. I was actually going to school for it before the whole pandemic. And I was like, man, I got to lean into this a little bit. So we got.
I got to pay off that table saw.
So we went with the wooden box look, man. And honestly, it gives the packaging just that much, that little extra.
Yeah.
So it makes the whole experience a little bit better. Because
you got those like hidden Japanese joints in there that nobody can ever see. But if it was disassembled, they'd be like, "What is magic?" Maybe not. You probably didn't do that. Just
and the thing is, it just, I don't know, because realistically with the pedal, you know, I wanted it to be like a full experience, and it really is. When somebody's dropping a bunch of money on a pedal, I know I've done it myself, and you get something that's just like, oh, okay, it's in a plastic bag. Oh, cool. Cardboard. All right. There's no like care or anything that goes into it. I wanted this to be like, from the minute you got it, you knew it's like, oh, okay, somebody's had their hands on this. Somebody actually cared, and you know, and that's the whole goal. And yeah, so far I hope I'm hitting that.
I think that's an important part of this, because I think too often people think, well, the more I do or the more expensive it is. It's not always that. It's just if you can identify that there's been a lot of thought or a lot of attention to details or some angle that you've sort of honed in on and say, I'm going to make this special in this way. That goes so far when your first impression of a product, I mean, it makes a huge difference. You know, it's just kind of like Chase Gullett's guitars, right? For example.
Chasing guitars.
If you're not familiar with him, get familiar. His guitars are really incredible. But you know, he said, "I want this to be an experience." When somebody gets my guitar, and he got custom cases from G&G. Well, it's GGG. G&G guitar. See, that's 3 G's. I was right, Tony.
It's G&G.
I know. But now I know. Anyways,
from before.
Well, the other G is for Gullett.
Yeah. Okay. Stop it. Anyways, you open this thing up, and so it's got like the trout. Is it the trout finish? The silvery. That's like the silver,
like a rainbow
kind of thing.
Yeah, so it's like silvery black.
It's like silvery black. I think it's, for some reason, he calls it trout. Anyways, which doesn't sound awesome, but it is. And you open it up, and it is this. Jared, you loves. It's purple. It is the most royal purple plush inside with this gold embroidered logo on the front, and it is like.
I was supposed to get one of those cases. I got to get on him about that. I said, remember you were going to give me the case when you got the new cases, but I just don't bother him about it because the guitar's so great anyway.
But so that's the thing. He already made the guitar, which is incredible, but like taking the extra step, just like you already made an incredible sounding pedal and you put it in a really fantastic form factor and you went to the extra trouble of making the rest of it look good. So that's all I'm trying to get to is like, that counts big time. Let's talk about the actual enclosure.
I think what would have been cool is if you would have like shredded $100 bills and put that all around it.
Oh yeah, put it like in a glass.
One day we'll get there.
Yeah. So how about the enclosure?
Yeah, the coolest part about it, because I kind of, elevating the circuit design, putting in soft switching, making it just that much more, I guess, elevated, for lack of better words. The best enclosures I've seen out there by far are the new Gorva enclosures.
Yeah.
Gorva design enclosures. And they are just, it's it's something different. You know what I mean? Because the standard is Hammond. Hammond makes fantastic, sturdy, enclosures for pretty much everything, but especially pedals. And a lot of great companies out there use them. They're not necessarily cheap, but they're not super expensive. But then Gorva is it's on a different level.
It is.
Ken over there does some fantastic stuff and is continuing to do fantastic stuff. And just even the switches that they have over there, like actual mechanical, 3-pole switches, it's nuts. It's nuts. But yeah, needless to say, the new version 3 EP drive comes with a Gorva enclosure.
Yes. And that also has the inset bottom, which is a nice touch. It's, if you care about the stuff, for those who don't care about it, it may not mean anything. But if
But it's the little details.
it is a little detail. It's like, that
There's
is
definitely value.
It's
in
like
that.
Apple made this thing or something. I mean, seriously. I mean, it's not far. If Apple made a pedal, it'd probably be looking a little bit like this, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's something I don't want to get too close to that because it's like, man, I still want this pedal to rock.
Oh, no.
Apple,
Don't get me wrong. This is not like I'm in a bad way.
man.
It's like,
I know.
Yeah. It's like that when you spend money on an Apple Watch and you're like, man, this watch was expensive, but you get the box and like, I just want to hold the box for a little while, and then you open it and it's like the air suck. It's like
Todd does branding for a living. I mean, this is quite a compliment, actually.
Oh, I do appreciate it. I do.
So
I thought I was
beyond
just gonna
how it
insult him.
looks, Todd.
Tony.
So why don't we get
boy.
to the meat and potatoes of the
Hey,
damn
I
thing.
handed our buddy a compliment over here.
Yeah, no, I
Come on.
think that's
You thought I was going to crack on you.
yeah.
So as
That's what you do to me.
we were talking earlier, Todd and I think Jared as well are all fans of the EP Boost pedal.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It's a great front end piece. But what I found
With
is
limitations.
It does have a lot of limitations, but it's a little teeny tiny thing.
Yeah.
And it's fun. But this pedal,
Like Jared.
well, teeny tiny, not so
Never
much.
ends.
This one I thought took, it has a lot of the same usefulness of the EP Boost pedal, but beyond that gives you a lot more controls and options. So I really enjoyed this pedal.
Yeah. Well, on top of that, you get sort of another pedal inside this pedal. That's really the big juice there.
Yeah.
So why don't you walk us through there, John?
Yeah. I mean, I was always a big fan of anything EP preamp, Echoplex preamp stuff. Had an EP booster on my pedal board. At one point, I had 2 of them because I thought, I'm going to have one always on and use one for another solo boost. The EP booster is definitely a different take on the circuit. The one that's in the EP drive's a little bit more like true to the vintage spec. The EP booster is going to have a little bit more volume output just because they added a few things to the circuit to give it a little bit more level. Realistically, I never needed the full volume output of those, so I wasn't too worried about that aspect. I figured, though, if you can combine that with like a killer low to medium gain overdrive in the same pedal, you can cover so much ground. And realistically, that's why I designed it. I designed it for myself first because of like my needs. I think most pedal builders will probably say something similar to that. Like, I needed this or this out of a pedal and I wasn't getting it from this and this. So I made my own. Needless to say, it's got, a low gain overdrive, kind of akin to, a Lightspeed or a Timmy, something in that ballpark, without being, like a blatant rip off one of those guys. But it's an op amp, overdrive circuit, and it gets anywhere from, you can use it as like a dual stage boost. You can use the drive section as just another boost, and it'll give you just as clean as you want, or you can tweak with the tone a bit, all the way to, some medium crunch. But the fun part is the effect order switch. So you can run the booster into the drive and get a whole lot more gain if you need to, or vice versa.
I don't even know if
I
I don't even know if I was experiencing gain, but when I played this, I had the order switched for the drive first and then the preamp.
Yeah.
Okay, and I was like, this sounds great.
Yeah.
And then I said, let's see what happens when I switch it over. And I switched it over, and it was like all of a sudden my little 112 combo turned into like a full-blown like 412 cabinet. I couldn't believe the fullness of the response that came back at me. I mean, that really shocked me.
Yeah, it's going to change the whole dynamic of the pedal. That one switch, man, it's going to change it up quite a bit. So
yeah, and it doesn't mean that everything got like insanely loud and uncontrollable. Yeah, I mean it was like I was playing a completely different rig with the flip of a switch in a great way.
Yeah, that's the goal, man. So I'm tickled.
Yeah, no, that was incredible. And the low cut and high cut is so useful. If you're just looking to see like, oh, there's a low cut and a high cut, maybe I'll use it, maybe I don't. But the thing is, depending on what guitar you put into it, right? So you got a Telecaster in there. Guess what? Those switches are going to be different than if you switch over to your Les Paul with the humbuckers, because it's taking care of that. So the range of tone and dynamic that you get out of this pedal is really quite astonishing, I think.
Thanks, man. I kind of built that. It originally had a high cut, but that low cut was definitely new for V3, just because I had some feedback. It's like if somebody's using some humbuckers in a rather dark setup, the bass can be a little overwhelming just because the drive circuit doesn't cut any bass. Like it lets it all through. So unlike say like a tube screamer or something where it'll give you some bass roll off, this one it's all through. So sometimes it can be overwhelming when you're cranking the gain. So I added that little feature into it, and it definitely changes the game a little bit.
Awesome. You got a lot of these out in the wild now?
Yeah, I had actually the first run a couple weeks ago, first actual run of them, and it was fun, man, because they sold out pretty quick, and it barely
that must have been
got
so
past.
Exciting.
It's one of those first realizations. I'm like, oh, this could be a thing. Like this is actually going to be a thing. Like I am not just spinning my wheels here. So it was nice because I have, they got the subscriber list, and I kind of shot it out to them first, and they pretty much bought all of them. It was
nice.
So I got the second run coming up soon, hopefully in the next couple weeks. And I can't wait.
Okay.
Can't wait to get more of them out there.
Can you share what these are going for so that people can run and sign up for your?
Yeah. So these ones are at 225. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things to where I looked at the market, looked at what others were doing, look what I'm, putting into it. And I figure it's still, it's not the $100 drive pedal. But that's
you're not getting a $100 drive pedal. So.
Exactly. That's not what it is. So, but yeah, 225.
You're getting $200 drive pedals.
That's right.
And $25 for the nice casing.
That's the one kicker. I like talking about the casing again. Honestly, custom boxes, unless you're doing like a huge scale, it didn't drive the price up. That's not what drove the price up at all, which I was pleasantly surprised with the wooden boxes.
Yeah. Well, that's really, really exciting. So, okay, you do need to get over there. What kind of runs are you doing with these, just generally speaking?
Honestly, since this is the second run coming up, I'm trying to do as many as I feasibly can. Okay. So this one, conservatively, 20 to 30. Hopefully I can ramp up in the future, but I'm doing whatever I can as much as I can.
Awesome. I did a 1 minute wonder with this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And it's just, man, the thing is a joy to play. It's the kind of pedal you plug in and you're like, holy crap, where did my last 45 minutes go?
Yeah. Well, can we go back to the beginnings and see how you got involved with this? What makes it tick?
But what did you do before all this?
That's what he just said.
Or as Stuart would say.
Just make it simple.
He just woke up. It's okay.
Question. Just a simple. Just ask it simply.
Hey, this is a good question. It's okay.
What'd you do before the pedal?
So I don't know, man. I'm one of those guys that have worn many hats as far as like career choices.
What style of hats?
Customer service hats.
Not a fez?
Not a fez?
Not a fez. Well, I could wear a fez, I guess.
You could.
Mostly it's talking on the phone and answering emails and stuff. But
Wearing a fez?
I've done that for a long time, just in between doing band stuff and trying to make my own amps and making my own guitars and stuff like that. But
So you have the sales and the customer service and down
customer service,
pat,
yeah. Maybe not the sales, because that's a whole different brain, man.
Well, the positive customer service,
That's it.
that spreads.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
right.
a really good plus, man. That's awesome.
But yeah, getting back to like the beginning of how this all started. I mean, I've always wanted to have my own company. I didn't know exactly what it was going to look like because, I was going to school for woodworking as well as lutherie. So making my own guitars as well out here in Colorado. They actually have a great community college that has an accredited program. And then along came COVID and blew everything up.
Boo.
Yep. Boo. Needless to say, school's closed, not doing that anymore. So like I had about maybe half a year to a year left, and no more. Actually got laid off from a job along with 80% of the company. And yeah, it was kind of one of those blessings in disguise. I think there's been a couple other pedal builders out there too that kind of started because of this horrible pandemic that we're living in. So I found myself with a lot of time on my hands and a burning desire to do something and build something. And because that's ultimately what I was able to do, going to school, building stuff. Awesome. And then it was all taken away. So that was April last year. I pretty much locked myself in a room in an office for about 6-7 months, just like R&D, prototyping, breadboard, research, electrical engineering stuff, and just literally immerse myself in it for a solid half a year.
Wow.
So, and my wife is still with me. So that's saying something. Shout out to,
Hey,
shout
you're
out to
doing
my
something
wife.
right.
Yeah. But yeah, towards the end of last year, I started getting some designs that I was actually really liking and really proud of. So I kind of sent them around to a few buddies of mine that I used to play in bands and stuff with, and was getting some good feedback. And I was like, okay, it's pedals. That's what I'm going to go for. Because I've made my own amps. Unfortunately, that's my intro to electrical engineering, was just jumping and making my own tube amp, which I wouldn't advise because it's like, oh, this thing can kill you.
Yeah.
Right.
Mess with
Yes.
this.
Yeah.
It's
Danger.
like a very bad robot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
But
Jared.
then,
pretty much.
I try to get in as many of those as I can.
Right?
yeah, that kind of brought me to the end of last year is when I finally, it was the EP drive and the fuzz drive. Those are the two circuits that I worked the longest on and had enough revisions to where I was like, okay, these are something. I want to make these something, and started putting them into production. I think I launched my first pedal for sale right around Christmas, and yeah, it's kind of taken me from there to here, and it's been a lot of learning in the process, man, because it's like, yeah, I can build stuff and I can make stuff, but running a business, there's so much more that goes into it.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
It's if once it gets to be a real job and you start dreading it every day,
Yeah.
you got to kind of remember why you started it in the first place.
Well, that's it. And honestly, every day I thank whoever that I'm not answering phones and dealing with angry customers for a living right now.
Yeah.
You get
So,
to speak to
I could be
people
one of
that are
those
happy.
angry customers.
That's it. At least for now. Hopefully, there's no angry
Why is my
customers in the
internet not working?
Yes.
Wow.
Are there any other toys in the attic that you're thinking of rolling out in addition to the fuzz and the EP?
Well, the fuzz drive, I haven't really given too much away yet, but the fuzz drive's kind of getting the same treatment. It's in the process, and that's pretty much the first time I'm talking about it. But if anybody's following me on Instagram, they can kind of figure that one out. So it's not too big of a secret, but that should be pretty soon. I'm actually super excited for that one because it's getting some killer upgrades as well.
Cool.
And then Yeah, as far as everything else, man, there's about 18,000 different designs on the table waiting to go.
That's fantastic. Did you, you said you were a woodworker, or at least were an emerging woodworker, a burgeoning. What's the difference between emerging and burgeoning, Tony? Look that
One's
up.
more aggressive.
I think burgeoning, you're expanding quickly.
Yeah. Okay. Well, all right. Yeah.
Emerging, you're crawling like a cicada out of the ground.
Like the 750 million.
I love
that
it
are
how you
waiting.
explain things.
Yeah. Yeah, there's supposed to be like some huge.
This is the 17 year for
Yeah.
the cicada.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy.
Yep. It's good eating.
Cicada-ing.
Yeah. For those who don't
you
have
put
the
'em in a
pleasure of
drink?
this, it is an incredible noise.
Oh yeah.
These
At
things.
night.
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole other thing.
I think
anyways.
it's all over the country.
We didn't have them in California.
They were real laid back.
Yeah,
They didn't make
they're
as
the laid
much
back
noise.
ones, right?
Cicadas. Huh?
Yeah. No, are they in Colorado?
We're gonna find out because we've been out here about 4 years, so not the
Yeah,
17.
I don't think west of the Rockies they exist.
Really?
I really don't think so.
It's an elevation thing, probably, right?
I bet. And it's dry as can be out here, man. So I don't know if they. I don't know.
Yeah,
It'd be hard to get into the ground.
I think they made their way to the Rockies and they said, "Oh, screw it."
These mountains are too
being
damn
in-
high.
the Midwest has rich soil, so it makes sense that
There you
they're
go.
centralized here.
Well, anyways,
On this week's Cicada
Yeah.
podcast.
Cicada? John Cicada? I love John Cicada.
Welcome back, Cicada.
what? Oh,
Cicada,
geez.
cicada.
That would be a great T-shirt. Anyways, what I wanted to ask our guest, you clowns, is you are a wood guy. You make wood stuff, but then all of a sudden you're like, oh no, switcheroo. That's like an electrician all of a sudden doing plumbing or something, right? So was that a difficult thing for you to? You feel like you just jumped into it. Did you take to that really easily?
Well, I mean, I honestly, the woodworking thing is kind of secondary to just someone who's always tinkered with everything. And it comes from a place of being too poor to like buy new stuff. So you got to fix your own. So I've had tons of old tube amps, tons of old pedals, tons of old everything, guitars, and just don't got enough money to take it to somebody. So it's like, I got to figure out how it works and how I can fix it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, the electrical engineering side of it, like the actual theoretical stuff, that was kind of new to me. Like I knew how amps work and I knew how pedals work and I knew resistors, capacitors, everything. Like, okay, this does this there. But once you're on the back end of it and learning the theory, that was really where things start to click. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, okay, this makes sense now. And you had those light bulb moments. Like I would have like a light bulb moment every other day, and like I would just turn to my wife, like, "Oh my god, it makes sense."
That's cool.
So yeah, it was a lot of fun, and that's why I kept doing it.
That's really cool, man. I like hearing that. Well, everybody better run out and get a hold of one of these things here because he's going to do another run of them, and you don't want to miss that.
Do it. I mean, it's every
penny's
it is
well
a 2-in-1 pedal.
Yeah, that is you can play. It's amazing the range of music that you can get with these. Jared, anything to add there?
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, it has come to the point of the show where we play a little game.
Would you rather?
Oh, stole his thunder.
Would you rather hear that
Caterwauling.
intruding fake,
Yes.
or would you rather hear
the moaning over the moors?
Wow.
Would you rather?
Gym neighbors, everybody.
This week's Would You Rather is brought to us by our good old chum, Mike DeLucio.
Sure.
It's 2 hours before a gig, and you forget to bring your pedal board. Oh my gosh.
Where is it?
It's 3 hours away.
It's 3 hours away.
Well, it may have gotten stolen because you left it on top of the other car trying to load stuff in. So either way, it's not with you.
It's gone.
Yep. You reach out to friends and end up with two options. Would you rather play the gig with a screen-based digital multi-effects floor processor, like a Zoom or a Line 6, something like that, or Boss GT, whatever, or would you rather have a pedal board loaded with every effect you'll ever need, but all of which are cheap offshore products? So would you rather?
Okay. Tanya.
Why? I'm going with the HX Stomp.
Well, yeah.
That's a really good thing. So you're not supposed to be able to have that. It's got to be the other things.
Oh.
Well, why'd you say that?
Because it has to be a tough decision. That's an easy decision to go with the HX.
But you said it was a thing.
No, he did not say
I
HX
didn't.
Stomp. No, he said GTX.
No, he said or Line 6 or... He did say that.
Well, I guess you can put it under Line 6, but that's going to be the easy out choice.
No,
it's not fair
that's
that
cheating.
it should be in there.
Yeah, that's cheating.
It is cheating.
That's why I was trying to get your goat.
Oh, I get
Right.
it. Okay.
So, I think if I had to choose between really cheap, crappy pedals, a bunch of them, and an all-in-one kind of multi-effects board.
The Boss GT series is pretty nice, man.
I think that's. I mean, there are limitations on multi-effects boards, pedals, whatever you want to call them. But I think in terms of consistency and in terms of connectivity, everything's already internally connected. I think that's the safer choice is to go with the multi-effects. And yeah, the Boss GT series, perfectly fine.
Yeah, good stuff.
That'll get you through, a lot of gigs if you need a whole bunch of different sounds.
Yeah.
So I'm going with the multi-effects pedal. Thank you very much.
Jared?
So if this was literally happening in real life, I would definitely have to go with the giant pedal board of cheapos. Because I don't know how to operate any of those other pedals. I would just be searching for the right thing during songs. I'd be like, well, don't start yet. I can't find my effect. So I would, the other one, I would just look down and say, oh, there's a cheap thing. There's a cheap thing. I know what that is. I know what that is.
But you've got a size 19 foot. These are mini pedals.
Well, how big are the processor buttons?
But there's
I mean,
not
the zooms are
27
pretty big,
mini.
but
I'm just saying.
I'm screwed either way. But if I don't know how to use the processors, I'm going to have to go with the cheap pedals. I mean, in real life.
Yeah.
If that really happened.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I think that's fair.
Are you going to use Tour Gear design cabling?
If they got Tour Gear design, I'm going to have some faith.
Yeah. Okay. John, how about yourself?
Oh man, I think I'm gonna have to stay away from the digital stuff and go with the cheapos. Just because if I just got my pedal board either stolen or forgot it, I'm stressed out as can be. There's no way I'm going through a screen and trying to figure out what patches are in this thing. This thing's got, there's a drive pedal. I can use that. Delay pedal, cool. Boost pedal, awesome.
What if it comes out like none of the volume effects are normalized and one is super loud and the other one's super quiet and you have to figure out how to turn it up? I mean, there's a million little things.
Yeah.
That's it.
Are you trying
I'm
to
going
ruin his
cheapo.
decision?
No.
He's
you're talking about
digital
supporting
stuff.
it.
Okay. Gotcha.
Oh yeah, we're on the same page.
It's poor Tony. He's on the island.
Yeah.
It's going to be Tony Island again, I'm sure.
Yeah. But I have the caveat for Tony. So I'm going with the analog version of this too, because for that same reason, if I'm jumping in right before a show, it's just that is a task that requires time and patience, and then you have to remember, what did I set everything at? Which is the order? Blah 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 blah. Nope. I'm just gonna go with those. But the reason that Tony chose the pedal that the option he did is that he's going to show up and not even turn it on.
I need something to hold my sheet music down with.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that just is going to tell you where your beer is. It's right next to this thing.
I put my beer on the second push button.
Yes.
Why do you make me go first all the time, Todd? That's why I end up on an island all the time. All the time.
Keeps you honest.
Yes, indeed.
Why?
We have a handful of people to think, and then we're going to let John tell everybody where to go get his items and junk.
Items and junk?
Well, not junk. I don't.
Nice.
No, that's just a ubiquitous term for good stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, junk.
Yeah.
Great,
Yeah.
priceless things.
Yes.
Stuff.
Nice, Todd. Insulting guests again. You know where that got you last
Jeez.
time.
Okay.
At this point in the show, Todd, there's a special group of people we like to thank. Mm-hmm. These would be our executive producers.
That's right.
And you're probably wondering, you may be, maybe you're not, but you should wonder, what is an executive producer?
I don't know.
And maybe how could I become one?
I want to.
It's very simple. You go over to patreon.com/The Guitar Knobs and check it out. That's for our Canadian friends.
Exactly.
Or
Sorry. There's several different levels in which you can participate, become a patron, a sponsor, if you will, of this very podcast.
That's right.
Each level comes with a great bevy of thank you gifts, including things like barefoot buttons and keychains and T-shirts and stickers and
pins,
shirts,
and picks, and
pens.
pins.
Oh, pins.
Pins.
That's a new one.
A pin. You put it on your denim jacket.
Ah, very good. But as an executive producer, you get all that great stuff.
There's giveaways too.
Oh,
Lots of that stuff.
I take those for granted these days.
We give away junk.
See? Okay, great. Now I'm never going to
Nice.
write that down.
Hey, John, got any junk you want to put in the giveaways? But there's one more thing that executive producers get, Jared. What is that?
You get to have your name read on the thing.
Your name read on the thing. That's what I'm doing right in this very moment. Special thanks to these executive producers.
Do it.
Tom Brazen, Martin Cliff, John Daly, Chris Carney, Darren Gregory, Doug Christ, Michael Van Zant, Ken Sayers, Brian Robison, Michael Senchuk, Stefan Lamb, Johnny Knowles, Anthony Lathrop, John Englund, Tyler Bray, Brad Partridge, Chris Heidel, John Esterle, Doug Gann, Justin Jones, Brett Alexander, James White, Matt Hart, Bilgola Guitars, Richard Kendall, Tig Harmon, John Jackson, Jason Roush, David Arando, Douglas King, Gary Cooper, Rob Saxby, Mark Garton, Elad Mizrahi, and Mike D.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Oh, yeah.
No, don't interrupt me, Todd, because there's a special group
Well, you
of
better get
executive
your
producers.
oxygen tanks then.
These would be our grand poobahs.
Ah, yes.
These are our executive producers that live up
the
one
Golden
floor up-
Tower.
Yes,
That's right.
At the penthouse suite of the
Yes,
Golden Tower.
with
the hot
red
tub.
plush carpet.
These fine people get a special fez to wear upon their heads while listening to the podcast.
Yes.
This very podcast.
That's right.
So special thanks to these grand poobahs: Jonathan Jerusik, Corey Nigro, David Kaminga, Science of Sound. She blinded me with science. Cody Foster, Sean S. Tom Emanasco, Adam Johnson, Steve Keys, Tim Nowak, Tyler Rhines, James Pennington, LSJ Music Company. And new this week, we have an upgrade from an executive producer to Grand Poobah, Mr. John Williams.
All
Thanks,
right.
John. Welcome
Thank
aboard.
you, John.
Tony, one thing that you didn't really mention was that, the Grand Poobahs also get, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we flow their way because they're substantially helping us out.
They are
so.
substantially helping, and we want to substantially reward.
And all of the ones that you haven't heard so far. So we've had Corey Nigro, and we've had Cody Lane, and we've got a whole bunch. We got Jonathan Jerusik. That's going to be the next episode.
Yeah.
Throughout the rest of the year, we're going to have the rest of these chapos on. As many that want to. Not everybody wants to.
They get to be on the thing.
They get to be on the thing. So
Yes, they get their name read and get to be on the
yeah,
thing.
right.
and because of their involvement because their enthusiasm and passion for gear in the guitar community and the support that they share, not just because they are poobahs.
Yes.
Yes, that's just the door to get in to share that. So anyways, I wanted to say that. Let's see, John. Tell everybody where they can go get your awesome pedal.
All right. Pedals from Very Good Amplification Company can be found on verygoodampco.com. Sorry.
Are you on NPR?
I couldn't resist.
Hey, I was impressed.
No, yeah. You can just go to verygoodampco.com, subscribe to the email list. I don't spam. All I
just
do
did.
is tell you when the next one's coming out. That's all.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, I really did. I literally just did that.
Cool. Thanks, man.
All right. It was very exciting having you on. We need to find out, Tony Baloney, where people find you.
Oh, well, let's just say you wanted to get a special pick guard.
Yep.
You're changing out pickups.
All the time.
Do you want to put an initial or something on it?
You're maybe somebody famous with long gray hair and you need some new pickups and you need to,
You need the thing
and
with the flower on it.
And you sound like Kenny Rogers when you sing.
or
So somebody
or a
like
dinosaur.
that, go.
Okay.
Dinosaur Senior. If you want to, just head over to pickguardian.com/home.
Okay. What?
No, just go to pickguardian.com. Check out the stuff I have on there. Some great pictures and things. By and large, what I do is custom work. So just shoot me an email. Let me know what you need, and I will take very good care of you.
Jared?
Brandon Wan Pickups, BrandonWanPickups.com. If you need pickups, rewinds, old-looking pickups that are new or whatever, new pickups.
New-looking pickups that are old?
Noiseless Jazz Masters are they're starting to catch up.
Nice.
We had a fella that's kind of famous just calling, asked for a set of those, so I'm pretty impressed with
Probably didn't just mention that in code at all.
No,
that. No,
we didn't talk.
when you
anything
said
about-
Dinosaur Senior, it didn't have anything to do with it.
no.
Anyway, it's
What?
Jeez.
Anyways.
off the rails. It always goes
Yeah.
that way. Brandon Wan Pickups.
That's easy.
Well done. Yeah. You could have just said that at the beginning. Anyways.
Oh, what's his name?
What?
Who?
Hey, you can drop me an email and tell us how awful this was.
Can we
Todd at
DM you?
theguitarknobs.com. You can DM me. That's right. At Guitar Knobs on Instagram. I always make sure that the guys hear whatever
chaps.
you guys are, the chappies, or whatever you got to share. I send it their way and we talk about it. So looking forward to hearing from you. And John, thank you so much for sharing your time with us today.
Honestly, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it was really great talking with you. Yeah, good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. We enjoyed it too.
Yes.
I hope the listeners do. And I really, truly encourage you to get a hold of one of these pedals.
Yes.
It is.
Yes.
It's really good. All right, everybody. Have a fantastic guitar weekend. Subscribe. Why did you do that? All right, shine your dancing shoes there, buddy. Wow. That's not even a fun one. That's just that's when you wrinkle your nose at and go, I don't feel okay for hearing that.
Oh, that's bad. You're
That's
a
one
bad
where you
man.
Jeez. Yeah, that's not rice in those hacky sacks, pal.
So have you been to the lower catacombs below the Denver airport?
All right.
I already ate it.
Great
This part is
conversation.
going incredibly slow.
Well,
Jesus.
It's
something
really
like
poopy stuff.
Tony
Tony Dudzik, Pick Guardian.
Shut it.
That's what you have to. You have to cut that out. 'Cause
Well, that's it for these knobs. Please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/theguitarknobs. Visit our website at theguitarknobs.com for all of our past episodes, 4 on the Floor blog, and other good stuff. You can connect with us on social too at our Facebook page and share your gear and stories on our Facebook group. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram at Guitar Knobs. Catch you next time.